Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today our guest is Brock Mogensen. Thanks for being on the show, Brock.
Thanks for having me.
Brock is a principal at Smart Asset Capital. The firm currently has over $6 million in assets under management. He's a host of the largest monthly multifamily meetup in Wisconsin, Masters in Information Systems, focused on the analytical side of real estate. Brock, thank you again for your time. I'm looking forward to getting into the analytical side a little bit and your specialty there, because it's not always my specialty. It's the number side, and I love tracking stuff, but I love bringing people on that are a lot better at those things than me. But give the listeners a little more about who you are and what you all are focused on right now.
Okay, yeah. So my name is Brock Mogensen. I'm located here in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area. My background, I've been at it for real estate for about 2 years now. Started with a duplex. So that was about 2 years ago. Did the house hacking model, which I suggest everyone's a great way to get started. And that really just kind of showed me the power of cash flow, the power of real estate, and really how a deal works. From there, I kind of spent some time deciding which path I wanted to go down in real estate. I quickly realized there's a million different ways to go in real estate. And after some time, I kind of landed on the syndication model being the one I wanted to go with. So from there, I spent six months or so really learning it, and chose specifically to kind of learn the underwriting side and the analysis side of real estate. So that's what I really spent time diving deep into. From there, went out and partnered with two other people that have already kind of done the larger deals and had the experience, partnered up with them. And quickly after that was able to put our first deal under contract, which was an 89 unit deal. So that was about a year ago exactly. And then shortly after that, we actually bought an office asset and then also a retail asset. So that's kind of what we've done so far. It's been about 2 years, and I've been loving every minute of it.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you a few questions about some of those things there. We started with a house hacking a duplex. It's interesting. And you said, you recommend others do that as well. Were you working a W-2 at that same time?
Yes, I was. And yeah, I mean, it's just really simple, FHA loan, 3.5% down, not much to it, but it really kind of shows you the whole process with not much risk associated. There's obviously risk in every deal, but it's just a really good way to get started, I think, and show people the basics of how easy it is really. And from there, you can kind of just scale.
So, you said then you decided to focus on syndication. So, you're at the duplex, you're house hacking, you're getting your feet wet, really in rental real estate. Why then syndication? Why not grow, with more single families, duplexes, and other proper wholesaling, something like that?
Yeah, the economies of scale is really what just drew me to it. I knew I wanted to get into something where I could really build a big business out of, and implement systems that can run the business. And it just seemed like the wholesaling, the flipping route just really is going to be, you have to be really commit your time to it. And there's not really much ways to build systems around it to where it can run without you being there. And that's initially what really drew me to it. Obviously with syndication, there's a lot of work. You have to be there. But I think ultimately just that economies of scale and the path that I could see myself getting to of, really growing a business is what drew me to it.
Okay. You said you spent like 6 months educating yourself. What were a few key things that helped you learn the syndication business specifically? I'd
say podcasts, books, and networking events. Really, I did did a few of the paid courses, and those were great as well. But really, I think I just spent a lot of time listening to podcasts every day, reading a lot of books, going to as much networking events as possible, meeting as much people as possible. That's what really formed the basis of my knowledge, I'd say. And then from there, obviously I kind of chose, did a few different courses that are specialized in different parts, but those three things I really think can give people a lot of value.
So then you partnered with two others, and I think you mentioned maybe they had some experience in real estate.
Yes. So two other people, one of them actually has a property management company. So they manage like 1,400 doors. He already had a pretty big portfolio himself. And we just kind of brought the syndication model to what he's already done. We were able to kind of quickly plug that in and already have all the systems in place. So it really worked out well.
So you talked about bringing the syndication model to what he had already done. So he hadn't done any syndications before this point.
No, yeah, he got up to probably 200-300 units just buying them on his own. And we kind of, I think you already kind of understanding of what it was, but we brought that in essentially and kind of just created this partnership that's worked out pretty well so far.
So it's just interesting because I don't hear that said too many times where, or just thinking about, okay, if I go learn the syndication business now, I understand the business, I understand how syndication works a little bit and how to maybe get that business started. However, it's helpful if you have somebody that's been in real estate, but maybe they don't have to maybe be in the syndication business already. But if they've already had a large real estate business, they already have tons of connections and know-how. That's very, very useful.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, essentially, most of it's the same, right? Even if you're buying on your own or syndicating it, there is some differences, obviously, but the operational side is still owning real estate and managing real estate.
So how did you meet him, and then how did you all form that partnership?
It really started from Bigger Pockets. So on there and just networking and kind of meeting up for coffee a few times, talking about our goals, and then we're able to kind of connect with our third partner. And that first deal kind of all brought us together, and we worked on that and found that we worked well together and we were each able to complement on each other's weaknesses and strengths, and decided from there, hey, let's just kind of create a partnership here and keep buying deals together.
Are the other two partners local to you?
Yes. Yep. Same area.
Okay. So you reached out. I mean, you connected, I guess, through Bigger Pockets, knowing that they were somewhat close to you.
Correct. Yeah. Same market. So really when we first met, it was just started as a casual conversation about what our goals are in real estate, but staying in continued communication with them just kind of scaled into what it is now.
How long between the duplex to the 89 unit?
That was about around a year.
Okay. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. But then now you all have done an office and retail property. What's your all's focus going to be moving forward? Or is it kind of open to all three of those asset classes?
I think really it's opened up to all different asset classes. I think our main bread and butter still is that large multifamily value add deal, but we came across this office and retail asset really within a few months, and they are both great deals, have been great so far, even through these crazy times where those asset classes aren't necessarily performing well on a national basis. They've been performing well for us. But yeah, I think once we kind of got those, we learned how it works. We are kind of attracted to it, but like I said, the multifamily still remains to be our core.
Okay. Well, I know one of your superpowers is this, this applying data and the data science models. I know it's something you and I had talked about before the show a little bit, but applying that to like asset management and some KPIs that you all are able to track and how you have progressed that and kind of your vision for that moving forward. I'd love to jump into that a little bit and just how asset management, has helped you all and some of the things that you all are doing to perfect that side of the business.
Definitely. Yeah. So I'm a firm believer in using whatever data you have available, use it to your full advantage. So specifically, and when most people buy properties, they'll have access to the property management software. Like we use AppFolio. I have a direct log into there, and we can see every single piece of data we want. And there's so many different ways to analyze that data. People just need to really find out what they want to track and then build a system around tracking that data so they can make data-driven decisions going forward. Because decisions without data are really just kind of aimless decisions. So that's really what we do is I've built out a a 5 or 6 tab spreadsheet that tracks all the different, I'm actually constantly improving it and adding to it as time goes on. There's more things I find out I want to track. But I use that as a basis, and I actually have that on my website for people to download if they wanted to. But
what's on your website to download?
That spreadsheet for the asset management spreadsheet. I put that up on my website. But yeah, so really we take that and then we actually hired a virtual assistant. Over time, I was able to train him to pull this data. So every week he goes in and he has access to our AppFolio as well. He goes in there, pulls this data, puts it in a nice report, and then sends it out to our whole team, our property management team, prior to our Monday afternoon call we have with our property management team. And we'll use that spreadsheet as a basis to talk about different decisions we might make, whether it be leasing. We have a tab on there that talks about, it breaks it down by each channel, what, our conversion on applications to leases are. And we can use that to really double down if we see that, like Facebook Marketplace has been killing it for us. So we can see that specifically in there. Facebook Marketplace this week generated 100 leads that turned into 2 leases or whatever. And we can use that to then go make decisions with our leasing team. That's just one example of the many ways, tracking data on a specific level really helps.
Nice. So could you elaborate a little more maybe on the more specific KPIs that you all have found to be useful to track?
Yeah, I think so. There's the basic ones, right? Like, income, expenses, sure, vacancy, all those, which everyone should be tracking. But we also, ones I've kind of, like I said, we'll track down on a per channel basis for leasing. That one's been very useful. We'll track tenant retention. So we want to see how many people are renewing their leases. And then I found what we did is I found the average, national average, as well as our city average of what national turnover rate is. And we want to beat that. So we'll track that. Other ones are, let's see. So we track delinquency. That's a good one. And then we also track unit turns. We want to see how much is it going to cost to flip a unit. If it's $1,200, and I see in 2020 on average it was $1,200, you might come into 2021 saying, hey, let's see if we can get that down to $1,100 a unit turn. And then over the years go on, we can track that. We'll also track how long is it taking us to flip the unit. From flipping a unit, how long does it take to lease the unit? And we can track those days from there. And as years goes on, you can look back and say, are we trending in the right direction or the wrong direction? And then speak with our property management team and see, can we improve? Can we cut down on unit turns by a few days? What can we do to lease these out quicker? Things like that are really where data helps you make those right decisions.
So that data, like how long to flip, how long to lease, some of those things, is your management team, they're on a daily basis, they're putting all that information in. Is that right?
They are not. So that's where our virtual assistant comes in. And prior to that, I was doing it every week. And then we were able to bring on a virtual assistant after some training. He's running that report for us every week now. I think realistically, it might take a few hours to do each week. Realistically, asking the property manager, you might have one that will do it, but it's kind of a mundane task. They might not put at the top of their list every Monday to do. Sure. They probably have a lot more, things on the higher on the list to do each week. But yeah, so we kind of use that and are able to plug that in, and for relatively good cost.
I wondered about that because I know our management team, man, they're busy. They do an amazing job, but I'd be a little hesitant to ask them to, track all these things. And so, but tell me, how does your virtual assistant know all this information exactly? How do they pull all that information out to create that nice report for you?
So it really, the training did take a little while on that. I'll be honest. I used, I recorded my screen and put together like an hour and a half video the first time on showing this is the report you got to go to in AppFolio, because there's a lot of different reports in AppFolio where you have to go to this report to pull this piece of information, this one here. So it did take a while, and me reviewing with him saying, you missed this part. But after a month or so, now he's got it down. It was well worth the effort. Now I don't have to put any time each week into that report. But yeah, just really training the other person on where to get the information and how to input it. It does help if they have a little bit of knowledge of Excel, but overall, it's a pretty simple process.
And you said this report's available on your website for the listener to find?
It is, yep. At smartassetcapital.com, there's an education tab on there. You'll find it there. And a short little ebook there too to kind of explain what each tab means.
Nice. Now I feel like that's great value for, somebody that's looking to learn to track all these things and what's important. No doubt about it. Which KPI there has yielded the best return or have saved you the most money or something like that?
I would say the breaking down leasing on a per channel basis has really, as I spoke about before, we kind of found out that how much leads and the conversion to lease we were getting from Facebook Marketplace. If anyone's not advertising on Facebook Marketplace for the units, I highly suggest it. It outperforms every other channel we've seen, and it's free. Hopefully, it stays free. We just create its own page on Facebook for our apartment complex. It has its own page on there, and then you can just post right from that page onto the Facebook Marketplace. You don't even have to hook it up to your personal Facebook, so you don't have everyone seeing that. But yeah, just create your own business page, post to Facebook Marketplace right from there. Leads come right in there. And you can even do some automation there where we have our virtual assistant actually running that as well. But if he's not, in front of his computer, it'll shoot him a message saying, "Way back here from 9 to 5 with a response." But yeah, that's what we found out through the report is that's a great channel to put more effort into.
So what's your resource for finding virtual assistants to do these things for you?
So we actually went through an agency for our virtual assistant. I know I've done a few other smaller projects through Upwork, and that was great. And I think that is a great way to go because it's definitely cheaper. It does take a lot of work. And when we were looking to bring on someone full-time, I was a little skeptical of putting all these hours into finding someone, interviewing them, training them. It's a big time commitment just to maybe find out, a month later, this person has a better offer come up and they leave, or, something comes up. So I went through an agency to do it just because I thought they'd be a little bit more committed. And the VA we've got is great. Obviously, we pay a little bit of a premium there compared to Upwork, but it's been great so far, and I think it's worth that cost.
Cool. Can you mention the agency?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I'm blanking on their name right now. Rocket Station. That's what it is.
Rocket Station.
Yep.
Okay. I haven't heard of them before. We talk about using VAs numerous times on the show, or have in the past. I have, and I've used them a lot personally. And I just think it's a great first hire just to get somebody a few hours a week, just to start offloading certain tasks that you don't have to do. And I love this example too, that, you all have this weekly call that's so important with the management team. And then, every week you can have this nice report that lays this important data out here for you all to analyze every week.
Definitely.
So any other ways that you all have used VAs even to help in the asset management side that we haven't talked about?
Those would be the main ones. I think running our tenant leads that come in, we found that the leasing team is great, but going back to Facebook Marketplace again, when you have 50 leads or so coming in a day, you can't expect your leasing guy to be there, sitting on the computer staring at it, responding. And our goal for our VA is to answer every lead within 5 minutes. So we have our VA hooked up to AppFolio as well, so they actually reach out to the leads that come through AppFolio because that spits out to a whole bunch of different channels. But within 5 minutes, we want him calling those leads or messaging them back. And then what he'll do is he has all the information at AppFolio where he can see, what units are available, prices and all that. And then he has a set schedule each week for when our leasing agents are going to be at the property. And his goal is simply to turn that lead into an appointment. Whether, you might only have 50% of those appointments actually show up. That's a different conversation, but that is the goal. And that way he can put a lot of time into that and just maximize as much leads. And then all the leasing agent has to do is that lead shows up at the door and they take it from there.
Love that. I love that. And that you have a goal for him, and I'm sure he knows what that goal is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. No, that's really good. It's just, I can't say that enough about how you all structured that as well. So you mentioned that when they, it comes to AppFolio, your VA has an account or where they can log into AppFolio so they can see all this data. But then when a lead comes in, does it come through AppFolio? Like even if it's from Facebook or something like that, how does that work?
The Facebook ones will come into the Facebook page, but all the other ones do pop up through AppFolio. So I know when you put a property into AppFolio, the property management does, it spits out, there's probably 10 or 15 different channels. And then the lead will come through AppFolio. He'll get an email notification saying this lead just come through. He clicks it, then it'll show that the information they inputted on that form for the given channel. And he can call him real quick and say, hey, I just saw you came through. You're interested in this apartment. Are you interested in doing an appointment?
Nice. Well, Brock, what's been the hardest part of this syndication journey for you?
I think the hardest part is really just getting your foot in the door on that first deal. I think that's really where a lot of people struggle, is getting that first big deal done. But really, I think if you just form the right partnerships with the right people and just take a lot of action and prepare yourself for it, and specifically, becoming an expert in one subject of it is really what I found to be beneficial, is become an expert in one, because there's so much that goes into syndication, and it's really impossible for someone just starting to be an expert in every piece of it going into it. So just become an expert in one piece of it, partner with those that lack that piece, and get your first deal done.
Love that advice. Love that advice. It's very overwhelming if you think you're just going to be an expert in the whole thing, right?
Yep.
So what's a way that you've recently improved your business that we haven't talked about that we could apply to ours?
It's a good question. I think, in the wake of everything COVID going on right now, really, we're just really increasing our communication with our on-site teams. So we're almost daily talking to our on-site team at our apartment complex and providing them with resources and updates on different programs they can use with tenants. I think this is something a lot of people are doing and everyone should be doing, but there's so many different programs coming out each day. We just found out our lender is offering this $10,000 grant for tenants. So stuff like that, we want to make sure we're on top of. We don't want to miss out on an opportunity to keep our collections as high as possible. So far, it hasn't been too bad for us, luckily. But I do think, it's going to continue for at least the next couple months. And we want to do everything we can to stay as close to 100% as possible.
And how are you all finding investors right now?
Mostly through just in-person connections. I'm really starting to open up my mind to digital and trying to attract customers through platforms and stuff like that. But I can't say I have a lot of expertise in it yet. But that is something I'm working on. But overall, it's mostly just been through the major source has actually been through our meetup. We actually host now the largest monthly multifamily meetup in Wisconsin. So we were able to meet quite a few people through there, and not specifically having the goal of finding investors through it, but really just ultimately turned out to partnering up with a few good people that have brought quite a bit of equity into our deals.
And how are you drawing those people into your meetup?
So the big ways we're doing it is going back to Facebook. There's this is another thing actually on my website, is some different ways that attracts people into your meetup. I'll talk about a few of them. So first off, easy thing to do, $20, boost your post. So when you start a meetup, you're going to create a Facebook page, right? That's the first thing most people do. Boost your post on Facebook. It costs like $20. Put that in there. You'll get at least a handful of people that show up just from that. Another thing we do, and it might seem a little sneaky, is another thing I have our VA doing is I had them join all the local Facebook. So there's always a handful of Facebook groups in your local market, right? So I found, the 5 or 6 that are the big ones in our market, had them join that, go in there, and then on the comment, someone posts a deal or something or wholesaling a deal, drop your email address below, they'll type, and there'll be 50 email addresses in there. He grabs all those email addresses, then we put it on a monthly distribution list to let people know about our events. And also just I try to be pretty active on Bigger Pockets. And whenever I see someone post about, hey, I'm new to Milwaukee, I'm looking to learn about the area, I'll provide some insight about Milwaukee or say, hey, reach out if you want to talk about the market at all. Then also just casually mention we host this meetup. Here's a link to our next event. Click this and join us if you'd like. I'd say those are the 3 things that have really helped us grow it to a good average of tenants of probably 30 to 50 people each month. A lot of new people too each time, which is great.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
I'd say just commitment. Choosing, like I said, going back, I didn't just go all in and right away. I wanted to choose a path in real estate because I knew I had to have a focus on one thing. And once I found that focus, I 100% was committed. I didn't get distracted with, other people coming, hey, we should do this, or really should do this. We should start this little business. I just stayed 100% committed. And that's what I'm doing for now until I get to the point where I think I can branch out to other things. But for now, it's just 100% commitment on the syndication business.
And how do you like to give back?
So far, just through providing insight with people, whether that be through real estate or local market updates, just trying to provide as much value to people that are getting started in real estate and any way I can has been my goal. So has been what I've done so far. Obviously, I have bigger goals of giving back in the future once I can, but so far that's what I've been able to do, and that's what I've done.
Brock, I'm grateful for your time. It's been great to hear about your progress over the last couple of years, just going from a duplex to actually syndicating some deals now, and congratulations on your success. And then just the KPIs that you all track, even outside of the normal ones that we could all guess, and how you all have done that and using VAs as well. But then also the tactics for growing your meetup. It's some great value that I know the listener and myself have gained. So grateful for that. Tell them how they can get in touch with you. And again, your website where they can find a copy of that report.
Definitely, yeah. So you can get in touch with me on our website has all those reports. That's smartassetcapital.com. There's an education tab on there. You'll see those reports I was mentioning. To get in touch with me, you can add me on Instagram, LinkedIn at Brock Mogensen, or even shoot me an email at brock@smartassetcapital.com. And I appreciate being on, Whitney. It's been awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.